I'm super excited today to have Dr. Dhru Shah sitting next to me to share some wisdom with us. As you know, in the Sweet Spot Leader program, our goal is to teach people how to be human-centered leaders and have a massive impact with their lives and make the world a better place. Dhru represents all three of those qualities in spades. So to have someone like him be able to share some of his thoughts with us is a fantastic, fantastic opportunity. So Dhru, thank you very much for being here and sharing some wisdom with us.
Thank you for letting me be on here.
Okay.
It's just an honor to be sitting next to you, Sri.
Well, you're too kind, and the feeling is mutual, Dhru. So.
Thank you.
So Dhru, when you think about where you are today and where you were 20 years ago, could you have ever predicted doing what you do now? And what were the inflection points if this is different than what you thought you would be doing?
I couldn't have predicted I would have been here. I genuinely, I have to be grateful for my life's experiences to have shaped me here. And I suppose there's various inflection points, and I've kind of had a few, but one of them was when I came to, my sister, who was born with muscular dystrophy, faced a lot of criticism, grew up in Kenya. That was always a big inflection point because despite her hands and arms not working fully, she went on to achieve quite a lot. And that made me see the world in a different way. To say that we wake up too often complaining when actually we have two fully functioning arms and legs. I'm grateful, and that means that I've been given something I can use to contribute to the world. I came to study dentistry in the UK. I was paying international fees. My family ran out of money. Something happened back home, and we didn't know how I'd get through. There were days when I'd been in dental school. There were days and then work at night. I couldn't afford a meal, and I lived off. Some newsagent used to sell me 4 packs of Maryland double chocolate chip cookies, so I could live off biscuits all week. Of course, grateful. Biscuits are a luxury, really, but it did make me think nobody should go through what I did. Education is a right, not a privilege for all. There was a point when I totally lost inspiration in dentistry, and I nearly left the profession, created tubules, and that connection brought the zest back for me, and I realized the power of inspiring people. Built the foundation, nearly lost the company, and I realized the power of creating sustainable things. So every point has probably layered something. But we talk about 20 years ago, I was driven by a culture of achievement. I wanted to be successful. And now I'm powered by a culture of thrive. I want to thrive. I want to be fulfilled while lighting up the spark and inspiring others around me to enable them to thrive. So life has created that journey, I suppose.
Yeah, that's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
When you think about all those experiences you've had, do you see anything that you've done through a lens of, that was a mistake I made? Or do you see it more as, oh, that was just something I went through to create who I am today?
I think at the time you think, oh, I made a mistake.
Yeah.
And you build a mindset, I've got to power through this. I've got to find a way through this. I've got to, have no fear, make a break. And actually, as you make the breakthrough, as you try to break the wall down, you think, I don't regret this now because it's part of my journey of growth. And when you get to the other side, you realize that wasn't a mistake anymore. That was just part of the grand plan to enable a certain part of me to grow. And looking back now, it's saying, and I'm still probably going through these situations now, the higher the level, the bigger the devil, I say. And I think it's just understanding it's probably part of a longer term picture of growth. And you just have to grow past it. It makes you a better version of yourself, you hope.
Yeah.
So that's the lens I've put things through.
That's great.
Yes.
If you had the opportunity to give one last lecture, what would be the topic and who would you give it to?
One last lecture. Years ago, it's very funny, right? That last lecture varies in the stage of life.
Mm-hmm.
Where I am now, I think I'd give it to two groups of people, or three really. One is the growing teenagers in today's world who are influenced by so much knowledge, so much information through social media. The second is unfulfilled professionals in this world, people who genuinely go to work every day and are disengaged and don't like it. There's about 80% of them. And the third is to the leaders of this world, people who own businesses or have teams working under them, because that's a powerful mission. And to all three, my message would be, find the thing that really ignites your curiosity, your interest, and your spark. Find the thing that lights you up. And even if it means just putting 5 minutes a day into it because you might have the busiest of life, do it. Because it's when you light up on the inside that you can create the fireworks on the outside. Yeah. And the teenagers in school are all being taught, forget yourself, become successful. And for them, the message becomes, don't just chase success, chase that spark. For the unfulfilled professionals, it's about chase that spark. Don't just live work every day as a job. And for the leaders, it is about find that spark, because in that spark lies your opportunity to light up your team. So maybe that would be my last talk this moment. Inspire, find the spark, grow, achieve the mastery, thrive, serve others with that gift you're given. That's maybe what I look at.
Oh, that's great. When you think about the people that you look up to as change agents, people who have changed the world and made it a better place, are there 2 or 3 people that you really admire the most? And what is it about them that you think allowed them to be amazing at making our world better?
Are there 2 or 3 people? I think I grew up, and I talk about my music teacher, who's a friend, Moses. I was 6 years old when I was introduced to him, and I really wanted to give up music. And he said, just give it a go, give it a go. But he had a certain style about him. You know, most times you kind of put this script in, you've got to pass this exam, and he just made it fun. Mm-hmm. And he probably had a big influence on me because he lived his spark every day. He loved what he did. And even today, when he's at this stage, he's now doing it as a service, as a contribution. He's set up a charity to help younger people. And actually, that story still excites me. I don't think Moses ever knows this, so if he hears this, he'll be taken back. But that was one big thing. My mom and dad always, and most people, when you talk about inspiration, mom and dad were big influences. My dad was a risk-taking entrepreneur. He someone who had not come from a background of education. You know, he still took the chance. He took the plunge. And so that always made that difference. He took the plunge, irrespective, and did it with an open heart. And my mum was the grafter. She could work like a machine. So you take the plunge and work like a machine. Mm-hmm. I think that's a great combination, right? And they always added that. And my sister was another one who we've talked about. You know, because of the muscular dystrophy and what she achieved, created gratefulness. Beyond that, I've always seen a story in people. I've seen the great leaders when you talk about them. I've even seen the younger people. You know, my wife's an example. She'll help people here and there. And you just don't know the power of that impact. And watching all of these people, it's about where are they serving? Where are they just contributing to somebody and watching this impact just happen? You don't know what's going to create what impact, but you somehow see this difference happen. And that's what continues to, you know, help me. I look for those stories all day long. It's great fun watching them. Yeah. The other thing I've recently, I suppose, been influenced by are the stories of change. And this isn't just individuals, organizations. So I think we live in a very tumultuous world, a rapid changing world, tsunami of information, things are changing. And those dynamic people and dynamic organizations that somehow flip themselves 360 degrees on their head to survive that change, to thrive in that change. Mm-hmm. That excites me at the moment, that kind of growth as well.
Thank you. Could you talk a little bit about the concept of permission? And for you to be who you are, you had to give yourself permission.
Yes.
And I think I see a lot of people who are very talented, very capable, very passionate, but struggle to give themselves permission to do what you would ask them to do, which is follow their spark.
Yes.
So,
I think that it is, isn't it? And part of this, I have always realized, by giving yourself permission, you're changing. A lot of people are stuck in their identity, right? I mean, I was a dentist. Well, I am still a dentist. But the fact that I saw myself as a dentist meant that that identity was so strong. The goals, the values, the beliefs, the way of thinking associated that was very hard. And so to then move from that to a change maker meant that at some point I had to give up a certain identity. That's not comfortable. You know, I'm giving up who I am. I'm giving up a big part of me. And these are invisible things. Your values and beliefs they're not stacked on a shelf. They're somewhere in there and they're not as concise. Giving that up is very hard. And the concept of permission came because part of it was vulnerability. I just let myself become vulnerable to say, we'll see what happens. I could fail, I could pass, but I'm going to do this and expose myself to the elements. And the second strength that came through is, if I'm going to expose myself and build that vulnerability, maybe I should do it to serve somebody else, to contribute to someone, that even if I don't succeed, it will feel like I've given my 100% to this. And in that process comes discovery. And in that discovery, I found new values, new beliefs, different ways of thinking, and that permission happened. And then it was about following curiosity. You kind of just followed what seemed interesting, and that looks cool, let's try it. And that spark just started lighting a bit more, I suppose. That's the journey I've always found. And permission's about fostering yourself. You never find people say follow your why, but many people don't know their why. You talked about the bagel and the queue, and many people don't know their bagel. Mm-hmm. And I tell people, don't put your pressure on finding your purpose or your why. Just foster your interest, and interest turns into passion and it evolves into a purpose. That's my approach in ways. Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm going to close with this question. Dhru, you've done a lot of things because you've been willing to take the risk to change.
Yeah.
And I see someone like you as someone to try and emulate, to try and be like. Do you have any advice for me?
Don't emulate me. That's perhaps the way to go. Be yourself, We always, see people and say, I'd love to follow that path. But actually, I always believe that in the big universe, each one of us has been brought as a unique individual to advance a certain cause, and that moves the whole universe. Very philosophical, I suppose. Yeah. But in being yourself, you become you, and you become the drop of water that just flows in the river. And my view to everyone is that try to open up. When I say be yourself, you act in ways where you're just comfortable. You feel like this is me. You feel like I'm expressing what I believe in. I'm doing it in the best way that my natural abilities allow me to do it. And I'm doing it to serve others. And that to me is what I say. So I know there's lots of people say, I'd love to be Dhru. I said, don't. I've gone through a phase where I used to sleep 2 hours a night. You don't want to be Dhru because that's not healthy. Be yourself. If you're the person who likes sleeping 6 hours a night, I didn't sleep 6 hours a night. But just find those 5 minutes a day to follow your spark. Because somewhere in that, you start unraveling yourself more. And the other one is a self insight. Always, people are not hugely taught self-awareness. Just understanding yourself at some level, I think, is a powerful thing. No, school doesn't teach us. University doesn't teach us. Nobody teaches us. And the first thing about leadership is leadership begins with you. If you can't take yourself lead yourself to somewhere. You can't lead others. So being yourself and understanding yourself probably is what I'd say.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Dhru, for sharing these bits of wisdom that are profound. I hope that you have got a sense of how this man has changed his life in order to help others change theirs, and that it's inspiring to you in the same way that it's inspiring to me.